How are you supposed to know if there's something wrong with you? This isn't a trick question, it's not a gotcha. It's a genuine problem. Despite what we all may think, no human on Earth has ever truly known what the normal human baseline is, and that's because we're all so different from each other. And not in wildly obvious ways. A change of hair color there, a bit of neurodivergence here, and a few chemical imbalances there, but different enough in subtle ways that it's all too easy to simply assume the way we personally experience life is universal. I couldn't breathe for most of my life. I have incredibly bad asthma, and now have to take a standard albuterol inhaler for it on top of a twice-a-day steroid. I got this treated less than a year ago. Prior to talking to my doctor and casually mentioning that running made my chest scream in agony, I thought it was entirely normal to barely be able to breathe, to enter excessive pain while exhausted, and having to sigh to breathe. This was so noticeable, in fact, that my parents even commented on it and found how I breathed strange. The reason I thought all of this was normal is because I had absolutely nothing to compare my experience to. Did you know that you're not supposed to be able to brush up against your lung capacity when you breathe? After I take all of my meds now, I can breathe so deeply that I can't feel my lungs completely fill, but for the vast majority of my life it was not like that. Before I take my inhalers in the morning, I get a little fun reminder of what that was like, and it feels like being asphyxiated. This is far from the only, oh, I am not normal experience that I have gone through. I've had similar moments of realization with ADHD, depression, anxiety, autism, PTSD, all of the standard neurodivergentisms. It feels so impossible to notice these things because, seriously, how are you supposed to? You have to somehow know what the quote normal experience is like enough to know that you don't experience it like that. That's, impossible. The best way to realize these things about yourself is to have someone else tell you about them. If you think one of your friends is neurodivergent, I would maybe ask them about it because it is genuinely insanely difficult to work this out on your own. I only realized that I have all of this because one of my friends had these realizations about herself, told me about them, and that I realized it applied to me too. Had they not done that, I would probably still be unmedicated, so thanks, Emmy. How do you know if there's something wrong with you? Either you do some deep introspection, piece it together from other people talking about their experiences and comparing them to yours, and then live with imposter syndrome thanks to you self-diagnosing, or have someone who's experienced with that specific issue tell you, like a doctor. Realizing you have an issue is half the battle, but you do actually need to take steps to deal with it most of the time. With something as omnipresent as autism, there's no curing that, but I also don't know why you'd want to. You just need to learn how to cope with the symptoms, whether they be sensory issues, social problems, or otherwise. With something like depression or excessive anxiety, meds are huge, but also learning how to properly ground yourself has helped me more than I can express. With ADHD, I want to recommend something that I've learned only very recently. Sit yourself down and interrogate yourself on why you're avoiding something. I had been stuck in a few weeks-long rut with a huge Warhammer project, forced myself to sit down, and then asked myself why I was avoiding editing it, and when I couldn't come up with any real answer, I got up and went to work on it. This can also work very well with depression and guilt-related issues. If you're putting off talking to someone because, well, you just don't want to, actually sitting yourself down and asking why is going to help you make that jump. Try not to focus on the outcomes of what could happen, though. That's how you get lost in the anxiety fields. When you're asking yourself why you're avoiding something, focus on the you aspect of it, rather than the aspects you can't control. You can't control how other people will react, but you can control both how you act and react. I don't want to give the impression that this is easy. It's not. But if you don't learn how to do this, life is going to be kind of horrible to live through. There is nothing wrong with taking steps to make yourself more comfortable and to learn how to simply live with yourself. I really recommend this channel, Lillian, for advice on living with neurodivergency. They're awesome. Their advice on dealing with sensory stuff is a really wonderful video. Meditation, therapy, and just talking with friends are things I can wholeheartedly recommend from my experiences. Good luck.